They are still in love with you. I know you would tell me that they don't want you anymore. You would say they are not talking to me. Then how come they are in love with me? Well, they are, and I will show you how it is possible. I am pretty sure that you have heard that circumstances do not matter. You have heard that your 3D scenarios are irrelevant. Well, of course, everything is changing. Nothing is constant. Even if the relationship with your specific person changed, they might not be in touch with you right now, but they love you secretly. They are not showing that love to you because of your assumptions. After hearing this, you would think, how are my assumptions affecting this? Well, assumptions are the key to manifestation. Your persistent assumptions harden into facts. Neville Goddard's teachings are based on two key concepts: persistent assumptions becoming facts and your self-concept being the foundation of your reality. There is a story about a person. I will change his name. Let's call him Klaus. Klaus had this loving relationship with Sarah. They both loved each other, and Klaus was unaware of the law. He was having a bad phase in his life, and he lost his self-confidence. Due to those events, he lowered the concepts he held about himself, and he made many mistakes. He never shared anything with Sarah. Even though Klaus and Sarah were not in a committed relationship, they had this love for each other. Sarah was madly in love with him, but Klaus didn't want to give her the commitment. He thought to rebuild himself first, and then they would get back together. So, he started building himself, and they went into no contact, and it took longer for him to rebuild himself. Klaus started having this feeling of guilt as he wasted his time and the time of Sarah. And slowly he started manifesting more events that made him feel much more guilty. Sarah's behavior towards him changed, and now she has blocked him and moved on. Klaus went into a bad phase, but during this time he met other girls, and the other girls also started ignoring him. Later, he found out about the law, and he got to know that imagination creates reality. So, he started imagining scenarios where he would be with his specific person. All the lovely scenes he would imagine, and it was all lovely and beautiful. He did it for a few months, but there was no movement. It was a frustrating experience for him, as he didn't even have a single dream about her specific person. By hearing success stories of people who manifested their specific person, he came to know that people get dreams of being with their specific person. But for Klaus, nothing seems to be changing. There was literally no movement. But he knew how the law works, as he manifested many things in the past through the conscious use of his imagination. He had previous successful experiences with the law, so he was aware that he was making some sort of mistake. Then, one night, a video randomly popped up on his phone's screen. He started watching it, and he realized what he was missing. It was about self-concepts. It was about his assumptions about himself. Although he affirmed it for his specific person, he imagined being with the SP. He missed this one little thing. He didn't change the concepts he held about himself, and that is where things stopped working in his favor. He identified his mistake, and he also identified the negative concept he held about himself. Earlier, he thought that he deserved poor treatment and that he would not be forgiven for his mistakes. He also had this belief that he would end up being alone. So, these two core beliefs made him suffer. The moment he realized this, he started affirming, I am always forgiven for my mistakes, and the second one, I am always surrounded by the people who love me. He slept repeating these affirmations, and then he had this vivid dream where he was sitting with his parents, his specific person, and his specific person's family, where they were discussing the marriage of him and his specific person. For the first time in months, he had this dream. He was not changing his self-concepts for a specific person but for himself. Later, his specific person texted him, and they got in touch again. Now they are talking, and they are meeting each other. His specific person told him that she missed him and loved him. This story made me realize the importance of self-concept. I shared it with you because I wanted to make you realize that sometimes you have some beliefs that are working against your manifestation. Now, it does not mean that doing affirmations for your specific person does not work. Well, it works, but there are some beliefs that are very dominant. And in the above case, the person felt guilty, and his dominant belief was opposing his imaginal acts. The moment that person started working on his self-concept was the moment that things started to shift for him. That is why Neville Goddard says that your self-concepts manifest your reality. It was not like his specific person didn't love him, but his concepts about himself made his specific person unsure about him. In many success stories, I have seen that when people change their dominant belief about themselves, then their reality changes in front of their eyes. Their specific person confessed that they loved them, but then opposing thoughts came into their mind that made them unsure about their decisions. The law is powerful, the law works, but it only works when you have decided what you want and don't waver. It works when you form assumptions in alignment with your desires. It works when you change your dominant beliefs that stop you from having what you want. People form beliefs that are not in alignment with their desired reality, and then they complain about things not changing. Now some of you will ask how you will identify those limiting beliefs, those negative beliefs that are working against your manifestation. Well, as per my experience and in my opinion, all you have to do is become observant. You have to observe your thoughts. You have to observe your mental activity. Also, you don't have to wait to figure out these beliefs, as they show up when you affirm the new reality. As per my understanding, the moment I start thinking from the state of the wish fulfilled is the moment these opposing beliefs start showing up as thoughts in my mind. If I want to manifest a relationship with Jessica, I know that I have to live from the end of being in a relationship with her. So, I sit quietly and start affirming that Jessica loves to be my girlfriend. Jessica is madly in love with me. Jessica wants to spend the rest of her life with me. The moment I start affirming is the moment these opposing thoughts enter my mind to remind me that these new thoughts are not my habitual thoughts. These thoughts start showing me what my dominant assumptions are. The thoughts might sound like you are not rich enough, you are not in shape, and you are just an average person. Jessica only dates rich people. Jessica sees me as a friend only. Jessica is out of my reach. First, I will lose weight, and then only I can date Jessica. First, I will buy my house, and then only I will date her. All these thoughts are your opposing dominant assumptions that need to be changed. All these assumptions are telling you why you cannot have her. All these assumptions are telling a story about yourself. The story might sound like this: I am just an average person who is not in shape, and I don't have enough money. Women friend-zone me and only date rich people. Only people who lose weight and buy their own house can date a woman. Can you notice that your thoughts that were opposing you are a story that you are telling yourself? Can you notice that this is your personal story, as there are people who are just average looking and dating beautiful women? There are people who don't have their own house and still date women. There are people who are not in shape and are still dating women. So, you have to realize that this is your own story. This is your personal story. This is the story that you need to change. This is the story that contains opposing negative assumptions about yourself. The moment you change this story is the moment you shift into your desired reality. Now, whenever you start affirming your new desired reality, you have to observe the thoughts that appear in your mind. Are they beneficial to you? Are they in alignment with your desired reality? You have to ask this question, and if they are not, then you have to change them at that very moment. There is a story in your mind that is stopping you from having what you want. This story needs to be changed. Unknowingly, we have formed some negative assumptions that are working against us. Your specific person loves you and wants you. Whenever you imagine and feel a loving feeling towards a specific person, that specific person is also experiencing that same feeling. Your doubts and your poor self-concepts are the roadblocks to your manifestation. As soon as you witness them, you have to replace them with your desired state of being. The world is a huge mirror reflecting your inner assumptions back to you. Your specific person also acts as a mirror. They show you what you are doing internally and behave according to your assumptions about yourself and them. Some people go on a mental diet. They follow this diet by becoming aware of their mental activity. They witness their thoughts and replace them with their desired thoughts. They follow this for a few days and witness a huge shift in their reality. Lots of people have talked about this mental diet, and there are some people who have even written books on these topics. You can find them by searching on the internet. The main point behind a mental diet is to entertain only those thoughts that would benefit you in some way. Also, I believe that self-concepts are the foundation of your reality. The better the concepts you hold about yourself, the better your reality becomes. Your reality is shaped by the assumptions you hold about yourself. If you have stronger self-concepts, then you will get what you want, and that too very easily. Your majority of time and your majority of focus have to be on changing your self-concepts. Like, 90% of your attention has to be placed on changing the way you perceive yourself, and the rest 10% has to be devoted to that specific thing. To make this process easier, I have designed a new affirmation tape that will help you manifest love, and it is focused on changing the concepts you hold about love. It is in the U format that will convince you to form these new assumptions. Just click on the first video that appears at the end of the screen.